Right. So, Bruce Lee once said, if you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. Make at least one definite move daily toward your goal. My name is Connor Gagan, and for my senior project, I took it upon myself with the wisdom of Bruce Lee to achieve my goal of physically improving myself. Exercise has always had a big impact on my life. Although I was never very active in sports, I lifted weights and boxed for years, yet I was never disciplined. I stuck to a routine for some time, but I would drop it out of laziness. Goals that I set for myself, like losing weight or putting on muscle, always fell apart in time. So I saw my senior project as a way to finally set a goal for myself and actually achieve it. So my essential question was, how would my body change through exercise? I decided that instead of setting a precise goal for myself that I would aim to achieve, such as losing a specified amount of weight or being able to bench a certain amount, I kept my goals loose. I simply wanted to get stronger and lose weight, period. I felt that if I set precise goals for myself, I would lose the direction of my essential question. The question wasn't about losing weight or gaining strength specifically, but rather about change overall. I set 3 types of exercise for myself: boxing, running, and weightlifting. Boxing would be done at Title Boxing in Concord, where I had frequented over the last 3 years. Running would be done on my treadmill at home, and weightlifting would also be done at home. And you can see on those 2 bottom pictures my very messy basement. It looks a little better now. My goal was to enact change, so I needed a way to actually show that change. I wasn't attempting to improve my speed or my performance in boxing, so I decided it wouldn't be necessary to document anything from running or boxing, aside from the actual time that I spent doing these activities. However, I did go in depth in my weightlifting to show myself getting stronger. I logged every workout I did and every exercise within those workouts that I did. The other goal of my project was losing weight, so every Sunday I weighed myself as well as took measurements including waist size and calculating my body mass index. So with my routine set, I began my journey. It was difficult at first to stick to a strict schedule as I had never really done it before, but I quickly adapted to the change. I started to become comfortable with my routine: come home from school, lift, and then run or go to Title. I had to make changes throughout, however. Unanticipated setbacks were difficult. I had to remain wary of injury, and despite dealing with those injuries, I saw changes occurring early in my weekly measurements. The changes were small at first, but they slowly increased. By the end, I had made more change than I anticipated. So, at the start of my project, I weighed 207 pounds, and by the end, I weighed 197 pounds, for a total of a 10-pound loss. And there you can see over the course of my project, my weight loss. I began with a waist size of 42 inches, and by the end, I had a weight size of 36.5 inches for a 5.5 inch loss. Finally, I had a body fat percentage of 29% and finished with a body fat percentage of 21% for an 8% loss. For my strength, I calculated the total amount of change per workout routine and then the average change per exercise from each routine. There was an average change of 8.3 pounds for biceps and triceps, an average change of 10 pounds for shoulders, a change of 7 pounds for chest, a change of 6 pounds for back, and an average change of only 1 pound for legs. And it was a small change for legs because I really only used dumbbells for my workouts, and they only went up to 60 pounds. I kind of started with 60 pounds for most of the leg workouts, so there wasn't really that much room for improvement for that. But overall, I was surprised at the amount of change I witnessed in a fairly short amount of time. However, I took a significant amount of time off during my project due to the most significant change from the entire project: injury. I sustained 2 separate injuries in October that changed my entire project. The first was to my left wrist that occurred doing curls. It's a very simple exercise that I'd done a million times before. At the time of my injury, I was curling 40 pounds, but I knew with certainty that I could curl 50 pounds. I was right and wrong. I was strong enough to curl the 50 pounds with ease, but my wrists couldn't actually handle the weight. I've had problems with my wrists before in the past from boxing. Almost every time I went back to boxing after time off, I would injure them again. And I even had problems during my project from boxing, but the curls were what really set it off. I stopped lifting for a significant amount of time in October, and I stopped boxing for most of the remainder of my project. I knew it was like having injured wrists, and I didn't really want to go through it again, so I did the right thing and I took the time off that I needed. Soon after, my knees started to become sore from running. I've never been much of a runner. I've had to do it over the years, what with basketball or soccer, or even going to courts with my friends. But what I was doing was different. The repetitive slamming during running wasn't something I was used to, especially at the rate that I was doing it at, an hour at a time, twice a week. It only began as a soreness in my knees, something that I've had before, so I simply just brushed it off. As I continued to run, it only became worse. Some soreness turned into pain. I found myself limping around my house and having a hard time getting up and down my stairs. Injuries from running aren't very rare either. Amateur runners have a higher risk of injury due to inexperience, but serious runners who run more than 25 miles a week have a 30% chance of sustaining an injury every year. So about 1/3 of avid runners will likely sustain an injury. So I wasn't totally shocked that I was hurt. So again, I took time off. I iced my knees and wrapped them in compression bandages. They were slow to heal, but eventually they did. Not fully, as even now I still get sore from even sitting cross-legged for too long, but enough for me to return back to normal. I was worried about taking time off, worried that I wouldn't be putting in enough hours both for my project and in order to attain my goal. But a trainer at Tidal changed my entire mindset. He was speaking to the entire class during a session, not just to me. The odd thing was that it entirely pertained to me, yet he had no idea about my situation or even who I was. He spoke of a leg injury he had sustained in 2018. He was an avid runner who participated in events and competitions, so this was a huge blow to him. As much as it pained him, he took the time off to let his leg heal in order for him to return to what he loved. He said that everyone needs to just take time off when they need it. You can always get back to the gym once you're healed. It's worth the wait rather than causing everlasting damage to your body. And I took this to heart. It changed my whole outlook on exercise. It made me more careful when working out. It made me see that despite what you do, your body is fragile and has to be taken care of, or else it will have implications that could potentially affect your entire life. If I had ignored the pain in my knees and kept running, who knows if the pain would ever go away. I've never been a patient person, but when my hand was forced and I had to be patient for once in my life, it gave me the outlook to reflect on the significance of patience. Patience caused my body to physically heal. Yet I hadn't enacted as much change as I would have liked to in my project. The change in mindset outweighs the loss in physical change. So I set out to make change in my project, and I did just that. I lost more weight and body fat than I expected, especially when I got injured and thought that it would have set me back too far. The changes in lifestyle I made in my project still carry on. I've lost almost 5 more pounds after it had ended. I achieved the goal that I'd set for myself, something I've never done before when it came to exercise. I gained discipline and patience throughout my journey, 2 virtues that will carry on and benefit me throughout my life. So if I were to leave you with one message, it would be to chase the goals that you set for yourself. I did it, and I'm the laziest person that I know. I achieved my goal, however basic it was, even with injuries that I thought would ruin them all. To liken it back to Bruce Lee, instead of spending too much time thinking about something and getting nothing done, make one small step towards your daily goal. Any questions?